Okay, so the idea was to rotate this around so you can get it so it's somewhat horizontal there, dimming down the image, locking the layer, and just kind of showing a little bit of the text there just to get it set up. But as you take a look at the first part, I have a new layer above this, and I'm going to just take the ellipse tool and reset the palette there just by hitting the X key or clicking on this icon and just holding the shift key down and just going for the largest circle on the outside here. And while that's there, I'm going to take the ruler guides, and while it's still highlighted, I can put it right at the center of the ellipse circle that I just made, and that'll give me a vertical and a horizontal um, location to it. And these guides, remember under guides you can go to view guides and you can hide or unlock them, because once you create them down there they stay locked in there, so that's what that piece is for. So with this circle I'm just going to take off the fill, so select it, click the X over here, and now I can use this to try to build up the rest of this. So like I said, I was going to use the control panel up at the top, or I have the stroke panel on the side, and I also have what they call the appearance panel. I'm going to try to just show that to you. So the appearance shows that this has a stroke to it. It lets you increase or decrease the image from there. Okay. If I eyedrop this color, take the eyedrop tool, I can click on this green. This will show up onto this section. I may not have that green, so I'll just set the swatches over here so I can drag and drop it right into the side here, and it places it there. I can take the eyedrop tool to grab this green here and do the same, drag it and drop it. It'll put it right next to it. Take the yellow and the gold. Again, this is the dimming down of that particular image. So depending on the intensity of the color, I may grab it again in order to give me these three swatches up here. And these three I can trash. So now I have a set grouping of coloring right there. And then within the appearance panel, when I select this stroke, here's the stroke, and then when I click on the color, it allowed me to go back inside here to grab that color and give me that particular stroke for the color. So of these three, it had this dark green, and it also has a white line to it. But in the appearance panel under stroke, I can click on it and open up the appearance panel just like the stroke has down here, the stroke panel. And I can either switch this so it's on the inside of this, so that's pretty good. I'll leave it at maybe 3 point. Okay, and then coming down here, if I click on this, I can add a stroke, and it duplicates what was there. This time I'm going to click on the stroke and put it on the outside of the piece, and come down here, select the color. I'll just give it a light color. So now I have two of the pieces already built in there. If I go into the next part and click on the fill, here's the fill of this right now. It's at none, but I'm going to pick up this part and just click on the green. So within the appearance panel, I was able to just take one shape and give it two strokes in this color right here to build that up, and that's on this layer. So I'm going to lock and hide it and go to the next one. Okay, and do the same function. So here's this option right here. Okay, so this part, I might actually make a guide layer. Forgot to do that part, so I'll put the guide layer there. And just go ahead and duplicate these guides, put one on top of the other for the center point. Go ahead and lock this one. I've hidden this one. Now I'm on a blank layer at the top. Take the ellipse tool, and I'm just going to look at the next part, which is the circle. So Option and Shift sets it up to that outer edge. Okay, and from here I can just go ahead and fill it with this color, hit X and fill it with white. And here's the appearance panel. Again, I'm just going to click on this to the outside, make it a little thicker, And now I have two layers that represent most part of the centerpiece. Okay. The next part's going to be a little trickier. It's this sunshine segment. So I'm going to take the circle tool, come down on a new layer, and Option and Shift this out, and see if I can't get into the midpoint of this piece. And right now you can see that it has the previous setup of coloring. So in this case, it's going to have the golden part. So I'm going to click on that, click on a different golden section. I'll add to this. I'm just going to make this a little brighter there. And the fill, I'll just take that off. And with this stroke, whether I'm in the stroke panel, I can also come up into the appearance, which does it, and click on the stroke to make it go down the middle. So here's the alignment. Okay, so that gives me this particular piece. And now when you take a look on the left-hand side, there's this column. So I'm going to take the pen tool and go ahead and create this shape. So from here up, I'm going to extend it on a little bit. It's got a thick stroke, but I'm just going to set this right there. And within the stroke panel, or in the palette of the appearance panel, I can do it on the inside or outside. So there's the outside, and I just want it to be a fill. So now this shape is going to be that sun ray, and then here's the center part of the circle. So I'm going to go back to the guide layer and drag a guide right down onto that center. Lock the guide layer and go right back to this section that has the layers of the sun rays. With the rotation tool, I'm just going to select this, click right on this point with the Option held down, and you can see it coming across. So I can hit preview and just increase this until it hits the next one, and go ahead and copy it, and just hit Command duplicate, and it creates this image off to the left. There's 6 of them. So I'll grab them all, go to Object Group, click on the Reflect tool, hold the Option key down, copy that across. So now I have this group of sun rays. So I'm going to Shift key these 3 and group them together. So now I have that image. You can see that it has a circle on top of it, so I'm just going to take a circle, Ellipse tool, Option and Shift key, come out to this size. I'll give it a different color so you can see it, and then select this with the sun rays, and go to Object, Clipping, Mask, and Make, and now I have this shape within this. So now when I take a look, I have these images kind of placed together in there. Okay, so that's the initial part. While it's still inside here, I'm just going to take another elliptical shape, make it to the inside part of that, and this time just make it white. X key across, take off the red dot, and just Command Shift and bracket it across. That was just Object Arrange, send backward. Okay. So again, here's what this looks like now with these 3 layers. Okay. The next one we'll try is the star shape. So clicking on a new layer, again trying to use the layers to help you. It's off center, so I'm just going to create this star, hold the Shift key down, give this color of red so you can see it a little better. Okay, and then this is just going to be flipped over onto the side. It's going to rotate itself. So what you're going to do is go to Edit, Copy, and then go to Edit, Paste in Place, and I'll make this blue just so you can see it. So now the blue star is on top of the red one, and here's the center point. Here's the rotation tool. So I'm just going to click onto this point and just move this across to here to this side. While that's placed in there, I'm just going to reflect it on the center line, Option and Shift, and copy it on the other side. So now I have these three stars. Shift key. Fill them white. Fill these white, and you have that pretty well highlighted, and you can group these together. That's that section. Okay. So see if you can take it to that level, and we'll do the last part with the type.